Hello everyone, my name is Kyle Pla and this is my presentation about the ethical responsibilities of game developers, how they balance creative freedom with social impact. Today we'll explore the profound influence of video games on our culture and personal behavior, and the ethical dilemmas developers face as they create games that are not just sources of entertainment, but they're also now powerful platforms for conveying social messages. We'll be discussing the balance between promoting social messages and preserving creative freedom, and seeing how this shapes the content they create when it pertains to the video games. Let's dive into how video games have evolved over the years. In the 90s, games such as Pong were basic games that had no real message or themes to convey. But nowadays, video games have evolved into influential cultural powerhouses. They're celebrated for enhancing cognitive skills such as hand-eye coordination and problem-solving skills, but they're also being critiqued now for potentially reinforcing negative social biases. This duality poses a unique challenge to game developers who now must weigh the entertainment value against the possible social implications. The fact of the matter is, video games are no longer just simple games. They've evolved into platforms used for interaction, learning, and skill development, with a significant influence on the younger generation. The rise in gaming demographics correlates to the broader societal impact video games now have, which is why it's critical to understand the relationship between video games and their potential to promote negative behaviors. Even though recent studies have shown a conflict, which they are now calling for a nuanced view that considers environmental, mental, and educational factors. There have been numerous debates in the history of gaming, particularly with popular AAA titles such as Grand Theft Auto, which have been heavily criticized for depicting open-world violence and hypersexualization of women. These controversies spark a broader discussion on how society should handle the perceived impact of video games, especially when studies on gaming and real-world violence show complex, multifaceted, conflicting results. The gaming industry has grown exponentially, with now developers have come out with new monetization strategies such as microtransactions. We're going to be taking a look at how the industry self-governs itself with rating systems and ethical guidelines, highlighting the proactive steps taken to balance business interests with consumer protection. Rating systems such as the North American ESRB and the European PEGI play a vital role in advising consumers on in-game content. Despite their effectiveness in displaying these ratings, challenges still remain in retailer enforcement and parental oversight. The recent introduction of labels for in-game purchases used for microtransactions illustrates the industry's efforts to adapt to evolving ethical concerns. Now we are going to consider the video games industry's own rules for self-regulation to ethical content creation. The recent adoption of privacy certified labels and other disclosures demonstrates a commitment to both transparency and the protection of online privacy for its users. As of recently, developers have adopted a new trend, which is they now often revise in-game content post-release based on community feedback. This indicates a dynamic and responsive approach to the ethical challenges that is involved in video game design. For instance, the ESRB's new in-game purchases label is a direct response to the debate over loot boxes and microtransactions, which was heavily condemned by critics as promoting gambling towards its young audience. As video games continue to grow, so does their influence on societal values and behaviors. Developers are now faced with the new challenge of balancing both innovation with responsibility. This tension calls for a critical analysis of how in-game content can potentially influence players beyond the gaming world. Despite these challenges I have mentioned, the freedom to design groundbreaking games remain crucial to developers, as game creators strive to adhere to core values such as honesty, clarity, and respect, which guides the creation of enjoyable and ethically sound games. It's always important to keep the freedom of expression alive, as it provides towards better games for its users and better messages that can be conveyed. Like I said before, video games are more than just simple platforms. They can now be used to stand up for important causes both indirectly and directly. When video games include all kinds of people and make it easy for everyone to play and get into, it teaches players to be more accepting. It's also important for game makers to think about keeping games fun without letting them take over someone's life and bring about addictive behaviors. They should also be clear and fair about any money players can spend in a game, such as providing drop rates and exact percentages to getting certain items in a game. They should also focus on fair ways of doing business to make sure games are not just fun, but also support the positive behaviors in society and respect all players. As AI and cloud gaming have become more common, game developers have been working hard to keep their games ethical. This means making sure that their games are fair, protect players' privacy, and don't have any AI bias. For developers, it should all be about making the games fun and safe for everyone. And now, as these technologies get more advanced with AI, there might be new rules coming in to help keep everything in check, making sure the games stay transparent and the playing field is even for all players. In conclusion, video game developers have a huge responsibility, not only to themselves, but to their audience and society as a whole. They create games that do more than just entertain. These games can also shape how we think and act, especially when you take into consideration the sheer sized audience gaming has, along with the significant part of that audience being young children. Video game developers must make games that are not only fun, but also consider the impact on its players and society. The gaming industry is trying to keep up with this by using rating systems and updating games post-release based on player and community feedback. The challenge is to keep making games that contribute to society and still capture that naive excitement of gaming. As the industry grows with both AI and cloud gaming, it will continue to face new ethical challenges, which may introduce external oversight. The main thing is that it's important to keep video games fair, respect privacy, and avoid bias. By doing this, video games can continue being a positive force, providing rich experiences for all its players. Let's keep pushing for games that inspire us and make a difference to society. Here you can see are my references that supported today's discussion. These are the sources that gave me understanding of the ethical considerations in game development, and I want to thank you all for staying to the end, and I hope this presentation proved informative. Thank you.